it is time to leave. Why? Because you need to respect yourself. And maybe the version that you fell in love with might just be in your head. Sometimes it's just awful how you have to teach someone how to respect another person. You don't need to suffer to justify your feelings. Think of your younger self. Would you let her go through that situation that you are in right now? You wouldn't do that to your inner child, so what makes her think that's okay to do to you? But what's so selfish about respecting yourself? What is so selfish about that?
Okay.
Enough with the foolishness. Enough. Oh my god. Anyways,
Okay. Welcome back to my channel, y'all.
So excited! Imagine I just insert like the reality clip of what actually just happened. So excited! Welcome back to my channel, guys, okay? In this journal entry episode 7, we need to talk about when you need to realize when to let go and detach. Sometimes you might be like, so when do I know to leave or detach? Usually it's like your body knows. If you're with someone and you feel like your energy getting drained, you just feel very, very awful, you probably shouldn't hang out with that person. You probably shouldn't be there. You should leave. Yeah, you should head for the door. When you hang out with that person, you come back, you don't feel good about yourself. You feel very, very drained. You feel awful. Because usually when you have a good hangout, you should come back and feeling, wow, I feel really good about myself. That's how you should feel. You shouldn't feel like shit. So first of all, is this just knowing when you should leave? It might not be as obvious for some of us because sometimes you don't see the red flags or like the bad things, and it takes time. Such as breaking a promise. They said they're gonna hang out with you and they bailed on you, and they did it multiple times. They probably even just doing that one time, it might just be and like bye. Some of you guys are really nice and you guys are like, okay, let me give it another chance, and they keep doing that, then yeah, maybe you should leave. Because a friend that cannot uphold a promise with another friend and can't communicate saying that, hey, I can't make it, that means they don't even care about you. You don't care that your time is precious. That's a lack of respect, in my opinion.
Anyways.
And it can be a lot of other things. Like, this cannot just be only with friends. This can be with your significant other. This can be with your parents, with your family members. The same thing goes. It's like how you feel. And the number one thing that you need to tell yourself that is that you need to respect yourself. And I know, it's coming from like certain households, you put other people's needs above yours. It's sometimes hard to feel like, oh, I need to respect myself. This feels weird. I feel selfish. But what's so selfish about respecting yourself and setting your boundaries and being nice to yourself? What is so selfish about that? Yeah, probably in the past people have told you like,
oh, you putting your needs first is so selfish.
So me putting your needs ahead of mine is not selfish? Huh? You see how manipulative that is? That's so manipulative. You were conditioned into thinking that way, like, oh, I can't put my needs first. No, you should, because no one else is gonna do it for you. Because if you keep thinking like,
oh, I'm gonna put other people's needs ahead of mine,
you're gonna feel like shit, because it's not like they're gonna put your needs ahead of theirs. So first of all, it's like realizing who you need to leave, right? And there comes the detaching and the letting go part. And that can come in a variety of different ways. Usually, like for myself, cutting off communication and not talking to them. If you're not gonna talk to them anymore and you're like, oh, they're not good for my mental health, then yeah, you should probably unfollow them. And sometimes if blocking helps, do it. Blocking is your best friend. Personally for me, what really helps is not seeing them all the time and maybe possibly throwing out all the things or donating the things. Sometimes letting go is very hard because you hold on to this idea of them because you just think that they're gonna change because you love them so much. And maybe the version that you fell in love with might just be in your head. It's very hard to look at the reality of things, especially when you've been in a situation for that long. Sometimes you're just like, I think they're gonna get better. And sometimes they could be nice to you. Them doing nice things doesn't cover up the fact that they've not done a lot of shitty things. I need to accept for who they are. This is who they are. Accepting who they are does not mean approving. If it's your significant other and they have like these certain flaws that make you feel really awful, you need to accept the fact that this isn't a reality. They're not making time for me. They're not respecting my needs, constantly belittle me. They talk down on me. You could communicate with them being like, hey, this is really bothering me. And if they don't change, then you have your answer. And sometimes I can go as even far as saying that if they disrespected you once, sometimes you don't even need to communicate. You can just leave. Sometimes it's just awful how you have to teach someone how to respect another person, especially when just basic human respect. If you cannot even respect me and I need to tell you how to respect me, bye. I'm not gonna waste my energy to try to tell you this. There's 7 billion people on this planet. I can find someone better and they can probably respect me. I don't need to teach them how to respect me, right? And when it comes down to like relatives and like people by blood, sometimes like you just feel I'm gonna be nothing without them. Like without them, I'm just gonna be failure. You want to seek validation from them. You need to seek approval from them. And so you just let them doing these awful things to you. You just let them disrespect you. Let them cross your boundaries, even though you said multiple times this is not okay. And sometimes when you keep explaining it to them, like I need you to see my point, they don't see your point. So there comes the point that you realize that you just need to stop because you don't need to suffer. This is something I tell myself sometimes too, because sometimes I just feel like I need to suffer in order to justify how much I'm hurt, in order to tell someone that, hey, this is how much I'm hurting, I'm suffering. But no, you don't need to suffer. You don't need to suffer to justify your feelings. If you feel the need to do that for another person just for them to like validate your feelings, it's time to leave, babe. It's time to leave. Because no way in fucking hell you need to suffer for someone to hear you out. No way in fucking hell. When you explain something to people and you explain it so many times, yeah, it's not like that. You're being overly sensitive. You need to accept this. You need to stop being so angry. It is time to leave. Why? Because you need to respect yourself. I know it's hard for some of us to do this like self-love type of thing. Think of your younger self. It was very hard for me because I don't know what my younger self looked like. So first, go get a photo. Literally look at that kid and think, would you let her go through that situation that you are in right now? Would you let your inner child go through that? Having their needs not met, having them constantly being belittled. That's an awful thing to do to a child, no? You wouldn't do that to your inner child, so what makes it think that's okay to do to you? You are your inner child. If you look at this and you're like, oh my god, that's so much disrespect, like I feel so bad for her, she does not deserve this, then what makes you think that you deserve it? Why is it okay for you? Why is it okay for you to be disrespected? If it's not okay for her, it's not okay for you. If you have this like protective feeling coming about, I cannot let her be in that situation. Okay, the same applies for you. You cannot be in that situation either. You need to leave. Sometimes the right thing to do are the most uncomfortable. It might be uncomfortable for you to set your boundary being like, hey, I don't like how you're talking to me this way. I'm gonna pull away from this situation because this feels very awful for me. Once you start, you might feel uncomfortable, but the things that you know that it's the best for you. Your well-being is the only thing that matters. Letting go can be like letting go of this idealized version of you, the delusional thing that I created in my head thinking that this is you, but it's clearly not. You've been proven over and over again, especially with how much they've hurt you, that version that you want of them, it's not it. If you just get close to them really fast, you don't even get to see the whole picture of them. So slowly when you get to know them, you're like, oh my god, they're not who I think they are. Sometimes like communication could solve this, but sometimes it's a lack of compatibility. Maybe you guys are at different stages in life. You guys have different beliefs, or maybe sometimes you're like, oh my god, they remind me how I was like 4 years ago and I was a completely different person. And sometimes you feel like maybe they bring out bad parts about me and I don't like that. This is who they are. Okay, stop setting your expectations up here. You need to set your expectations lower and interact with them accordingly. You know, it's difficult. It's a difficult thing. Sometimes like when you let go of a person and like a year down the line, you're like, oh, I still miss them. Sometimes you have to ask yourself like, what do I miss? Really go into it. What do I miss? I missed the good moments. I don't miss the bad moments, but I missed the good moments. But sometimes you need to remind yourself that the bad moments existed. Something that my therapist told me is that you cannot change someone's personality. You can change their behavior. Being like, hey, I don't like the way you speak to me. That could possibly be changed. And again, like I said, with everything takes time. You get into bad moments, you would really miss them. You'll be like,
What the fuck am I doing? Did I make the wrong call?
it's important to just remember that not everyone that comes into your life is going to stay here forever. The only person that will stick by you is yourself. Maybe down the line, you'll meet amazing people. And I think like detaching, one of the biggest things that really helps is just having something to focus on. A goal, a hobby. When you have something that you like and enjoy doing, it takes your mind off of things. And letting go of someone is never easy. You may have mental breakdowns, and I always highly recommend you to let out your emotions. You should journal your thoughts. When you hold it in, it's only gonna bottle up. It's not good for you. Just cry it out, let it out. It's okay to miss someone. It's also okay to miss someone that hurt you. Yeah. It's especially sad when you grieve over someone that's not dead. You grieve over the idea of them. You grieve over what could have been. And sometimes you just need to come to the acceptance of that person that you want out of them is never gonna happen. Ever going to happen. And you need to stop expecting it from them because it's only gonna get you hurt. What you've seen, what you've experienced is real. That's the person they're showcasing you. You cannot change them. Stop trying to change them. It is not your responsibility to change them because you on the path of changing them is only hurting yourself. You're getting yourself hurt, you're getting mental breakdowns, you cry every single night. It's not worth it. Why should you suffer? Why should you suffer every single fucking day when they don't even want to change? They don't. They see you crying. They don't care. They probably have different priorities, different from yours. Changing is very difficult. Some people could change, but some people can't. Most people can't. I think instead you should start prioritizing your own happiness. I deserve to be respected. If other people call me a bitch for setting my boundaries and not wanting to deal with this bullshit, if people are gonna talk shit, talk shit. And usually those people who talk shit are sometimes they don't even know the full story. You know, they get one side story and they just side with it because people love fucking drama. Because you're gonna set your boundaries and you're gonna set it right. Because you need to prioritize yourself. They're tying you down, making you go through very awful emotions. It's just like the pain that comes with the fact that you realize that you need to let go of someone is very intense. It's very sad. And sometimes it's just easier when you realize like, oh, it's because this person is just horribly bad to me. And sometimes it might not be as obvious. I think the hardest thing in life is that you have to deal with the gray areas. And that's something I remind myself all the time with myself, is that I'm complete just by myself. I don't need another person to make me whole. That's it for my journal entry, episode 7, learning when to let go and detach. And I hope this video helped for some of you guys. I think at the end, you just have to learn that your well-being comes first. It's not your responsibility to fix anyone. Sometimes leaving is just the best option for yourself. You have your own shit to deal with, and you should focus all of that energy with yourself. Letting go is not easy, but I think that just realizing that you need to let go is a very big step. Because sometimes like when you're hurt, it's like you don't even consider like the possibility of leaving, right? I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you guys think. I always want to know what you guys think. For those of you guys who are on a healing journey, you are not alone. I will see you guys very, very soon, okay? Love you guys. Bye-bye.